afternoon, Dr. Joel, Mrs. Lyons, faculty, staff, and my fellow students. The universe is 13.7 billion years old. The Milky Way is 13.61 billion years old, and Earth is 5.543 billion years old. We have existed for 0.0000008% of time as we know it. If the current life of the universe was equivalent to the span of a year, we would be equivalent to the blink of an eye. Almost everything that we're so connected to, so devoted to, will eventually fade into irrelevance. Our emotions, our hopes, our dreams, and ultimately our lives are far from permanent. At the nucleus, they are truly rooted in imperfection. The truth is that, statistically, we are irrelevant. We will only exist for a small fraction in the story of the universe. As a species, we pale in comparison to the vast expanse of space. We're the very definition of insignificant. If the universe were to repeat itself at the end of its lifespan, we would just be one of infinite copies of ourselves, doing the same thing over and over and over again for eternity, simply one of many. But the paradox that we have is that we are here right now. We are relevant in this moment. No matter how fast time is, we perceive it slowly. We make it relevant in the idea of our existence, in the idea that we exist independently. The context of life has to be in the idea of our existence because we are alive. Even if we are irrelevant, even if we don't exist, even if we're one of many, we're one out of the many, that we're a paradox upon ourselves. And this is the importance and genius of humility. The first principle of humility is the understanding that we aren't better than anyone else, and that there's no action that we can take to become greater than anyone else. Not even having more friends, more confidence, more personality, more social skills, more intelligence, more A's will make us matter more. We love to think that we're better than other people, and we love to say that we aren't so that we can think that we are. But understanding the first principle means that you understand that the universe doesn't allow perfection, and that life is rooted in abnormality. Our very existence can be summarized down to an anomaly. When we die, we don't die with our money, we don't die with our friends, we don't die with which school we went to, or our SSAT scores, or our grades. We only die with ourselves and the actions we made, the paths we took. We are the only ones who choose if we're happy, if we're fulfilled in the end. But here's my question to you. If when someone is born, there's a set of constants which will happen to them in their lifetime, things or circumstances that they have no control over, then how much influence do they have on their own life? If at least some of someone's identity is out of their control, how sure can you be that if you live someone else's life, you wouldn't be exactly where they are now, or worse? Who's to say? Who's to know? The first principle of humility is understanding that the one person whom you absolutely despise could have been you, and in many ways, they are you. And it's because of this that they're just as good as you, and probably happier too. Their issue in life is probably on the outside, but your issue in life is on the inside. The second principle of humility is understanding that you need humility to understand and comprehend yourself, your place, and the meaning of life. Life is complicated. From the very start, we move through an unknown dark road, relying on our senses, emotions, and an entity we call time to try to differentiate up and down. We near slowly rely on others to tell us if we're headed in the right direction, if we're succeeding in life, even if those we ask are just as lost as we are. As we walk, we slowly begin to piece together the path of the road until it's almost as if we can see ourselves. We begin to disillusion ourselves, convincing ourselves that the hallucinations we piece together are real until they become real. We walk on a dark road, but we see a light one. The truth is, that road is still dark. No matter how good you become at walking the road, no matter how bright the darkness becomes, there will always be potholes and sharp turns, things that can never be predicted, things that if you aren't ready for will make you fall down, things that will cause you to fail. At least once in your life, you will make a left where you should have made a right, and fall so hard that when you wake up, you can't tell up from down. And this is only when you walk the road carefully once more, knowing that the only way to prepare is to understand that you are far from perfect. No matter how hard you try, there will always be a day when you fall once more. You have to accept that you aren't perfect, because the only way to move through life and all of its imperfections is to be imperfect in yourself. You first have to be illiterate to learn to read, and you have to be humble to learn to succeed. You have to fail to truly win, and the only way to change for the better is to recognize your failures. In order to live fulfilled, you have to draw your self-worth not from the amount of times you fell or how good you think you are at not falling, but from the volume of compassion you gave in your life to yourself and others, the light you shone in others' roads. The third principle of humility is understanding that you're impacting the world. The only thing that you get to leave behind is in the change you make in the lives of others. The most important thing you can possibly do in life is to help others. In 20 years, most of you will forget this day. Most of you will forget this speech. And all of you will forget these words. No one will remember that there are 92 commas in my speech. But the message isn't in the commas. The message isn't in how I structured the speech or even the words. The message is in the way these words affect your life. If my speech causes one person for one moment to see someone in a different light, then I've succeeded. If in your life you can change one person's life for the better, if you can make their life easier, if you can inspire them to aspire to achieve greatness, then in my mind you have succeeded in life. I believe that within every single person, there's a universe made of everything that makes them themselves. So if your greatest feat in life is causing one person to be better, then you've changed the universe. On this tiny rock we call Earth in our solar system, in the Orion arm of the Milky Way, which is part of the Local group on the outskirts of the Virgo cluster, which is part of the local supercluster. Sometimes we need to look up at night and remember the important things in life. Sometimes we need to be able to put down the politics, put down the weapons, put down the things that we use to dehumanize others, even if it's just for a single moment, and just to look up at the stars together. Thank you.